In this YouTube video, I'm going to talk about Db2 PLSQL. For Db2 PLSQL, there is a concept of cursor. We all know the cursor is generally we create the cursor for when we want to return multiple data. Let's say you want to return multiple columns, right? That time you have to use a cursor. Cursor is a PLSQL, one of the PLSQL, you can call it as an object. See, generally when you are returning a data type, you see you actually declare the cursor. Okay, you can see here, for example, I will explain the simple example here, not the dynamic part. Okay, let's take this. Here in this example, in the stored procedure, we are going to declare the cursor C1, declare cursor C1 cursor with return for select account ID balance from accounts. Here you are returning two attributes, not a single attribute. If it is a single attribute, you can directly assign that attribute into another variable, right? Select that particular attribute into some other variable. But if you want to return multiple attributes from a table, you need a cursor. Okay, you see, declare C1 cursor for select account ID comma balance from accounts table, and it will return that. It will extract the SQL, stores in package, optimizes access path. Just cursor generally pulls the data and put it in some internal memory. Okay, when you actually invoke your stored procedure, you can get the data. So it is basically an object. Cursor is a pointer to a memory object where your data is stored in memory, right? So that is how you use the cursor, because we require cursor. Most of the real-time applications, real-time SQL procedures, SQL PLSQL procedures, they use the cursor concept. Without cursor, you can never return any data, right? Because in real-time SQL procedures, you want to get multiple attributes, not a single attribute. If it is a simple customer ID, you can simply get a select into select particular customer ID into variable, out variable, and then you can actually finish it. But here is the scenario is different, right? You want to get multiple properties. You want to get for example, account ID, customer name, balance from accounts table. There are three attributes you can see here in this example. Then you need to declare a cursor. You need to declare a cursor and you have to open that cursor. Okay, this is how generally, if you in academics you will be taught these examples, but in real time it won't happen like this. I'll explain you in real time how the SQL procedures will be developed. You can see here. Okay, come to the I'm going to explain you the real time scenario here. You can see, for example, you take you take some existing Db2, latest Db2 version. Okay, and you can see the Db2 inbuilt some of the stored procedures. Some of the Oracle or SQL providers. For Oracle, you will have a reference cursor as a pre-built cursor. For Db2, you have a sys_ reference cursor. So what is this reference cursor? You can actually declare any out parameter as a reference cursor. You can simply open that reference cursor for any select query. for any table. Okay, what this reference cursor will do, it will allocate a memory for a particular SQL query that you are going to fetch. Then you can actually open that cursor and you can simply return the data. You can see I'm going to explain a Db2 a weekly typed cursor. Sys underscore reference cursor is exactly same like a reference cursor in Oracle. In Oracle you will have a reference cursor, but in Db2 it is sys underscore reference cursor. As I told you, most of the relational databases, they follow same ACID properties and constraints, foreign keys, they'll follow all the relational DB properties, but the vendor may be different. For Db2 it is IBM, they developed the Db2. Okay, its vendor is Db2, but it is a relational database and actually follows all the ACID properties that are required to make a particular database as a relational. If you take a Oracle, it was developed by the Oracle database, a popular databases, right? And MySQL is there, PostgreSQL is there. There are so many relational databases are there in the market. Okay, it depends on the client requirement. Okay, they can choose any relational database. There is no mandatory thing that you would only opt for Oracle databases. If you see, the cost of the Oracle database is very high, and you have a kind of requirement different from the conventional Oracle relational database, then you go for Db2 other databases. For example, you take mainframe systems. So most of the mainframe systems, if they are dealing with any XML data, they may prefer Db2 over Oracle, because there is extensive support for XML and XQuery language for Db2. Okay, comparing to Oracle. And also sometimes what happens, whenever a client is using most of the IBM related products, they may prefer the IBM database itself. For example, they want to deploy their applications in WebSphere or IBM developed servers. They'll also engage with the respective database developed with the same vendor. Why do they go for other vendor? They don't engage with other vendors, right? See, whenever we want to buy something, we will try to buy most of the things from the same vendor, right? Why do we pick different items from different vendors? Most of the customer, they don't prefer to do like that. So that is the reason. So for Db2, it is also one of the strongest relational database. So how do we actually use a reference cursor? There is a sys underscore reference cursor. You need to declare your out variable, okay, with the type of sys underscore reference cursor. Well, what is the in parameter here? In parameter is the parameter that is coming to your stored procedure. Okay, stored procedure, right? I think you are aware of what is stored procedure and function in database. I'm just explaining the technical part. Who are having a basic knowledge. If you do not have a basic knowledge of what is stored procedure and function, you can go through other videos and get the knowledge here. But you see here, the reference cursor is one of the good options here if you want to retrieve multiple attributes from the table. You can see here. So from employee table, we want to retrieve employee number, last name. You can retrieve other attributes also. You can also retrieve multiple attributes of a table. So that way, when you compile this store procedure, when you run this, so the reference cursor sys underscore sys reference cursor will open the cursor and render the data to the client, whatever it is calling that. Okay, this is true reference cursor. See, cursor returned via out parameter. See, out parameter is important thing. When you are calling from Java layer, Java object, you will map out parameter. So out parameter will contain all the data for your cursor. So it is a pointer to memory location, just like a cursor pointer to memory location. So you need to again get the data from that particular out variable, right? That is a different concept. I'll explain that later, but you can see focus on only database PLSQL development here, not the Java part. Strongly typed cursor, strongly typed reference cursor is, see here the customer developer will have the ownership of creating the customized cursor. You want to create a reference cursor, but you want to customize that as per your requirement. You're getting it right? So what I'm trying to explain here, you want to create a cursor with your customization. So that time you developers, they prefer to use the custom cursor. Suppose I want to create a cursor, employee cursor, and it is of a reference cursor and a return row. You see, I need a employee number with care of six letters only. Last name is where care of 50. So you can also have a customization ownership on the customization of data types, the sizes. Because see, whenever you are going to declare care of 6 or 50 or 100, 200, if you are going to give a size for data types, you should be very careful. You should not give a random size, because that size will occupy the memory at the database layer. Whenever you are opening a cursor, it has to allocate some memory for each and every out variable, and it has to return the data. Okay, if you are assigning randomly, or if you are giving randomly, sometimes when you are getting a data by opening a cursor, it will give you the memory exceptions, memory issue exceptions. Cursor will not open, it will not render the data, it will not return the data. You will face these issues in real time when you are building a store procedure which will return thousands of attributes. Let's say you want to join multiple tables and you want to return thousands of attributes from a table. For example, if you are dealing with XML data and you want to return multiple data and multiple attributes as a result set, okay, what happens, you have to join them using a union or union all, and you have to combine multiple queries, multiple properties, and you have to return it. And when you are declaring the size, you should be very careful. Okay, now you created this cursor. You see, employee cursor is there. You want to open that cursor and returning the data, right? So the thing is, in Db2 Db2 supports both weak reference cursor, customized cursor. Both are possible. For example, I want to return XML data using reference cursor. Okay, example code. We need example code for 10 attributes. written in result set. Okay. See here, the simple example we're going to explain here. Okay. You can see customer table. We need to declare cursor, reference cursor, you see, for 10 attributes, right? And now what I'm going to do, see, I'm going to use reference cursor plus XML table concept in Db2. You see here, create or replace procedure name, out parameter, and p underscore cur and customer underscore cursor. So out variable of type customer cursor. So we already declare it is of a reference cursor. It is a predefined object. We created it and we compiled it, pre-compiled object, and we are going to use it as a output data type, out variable data type, right? And now I'm going to open this cursor. See, you need to specify the language SQL, and you need to start with the begin statement. There should be begin and end statements. In between you need to write your cursor. You need to simply open cursor for select what we are doing to. We are going to retrieve all these attributes. But here is the tricky part here. Your data was stored in the form of XML. This is not a direct table, you see. It is not a table. There is only one column which is of a type XML column. Okay, XML type. And the data is stored here like this. How do I return it as a column? That is the tricky part here. So what I'm going to do here is XML table. Okay. And you see, inside the single quotation $d/customer. Okay, closing inverted quotation, single quotation, and space, passing c.customer data as a d. So what we are doing here, you see here. Okay, we created alias for customer table, you see, from customer underscore XML table, and we have given a alias c. Okay, we have given alias c. And now inside the XML table, what we are telling it, passing c.customer data as a d. We are actually giving another alias, and for XML table, inside XML table, we want to read a main customer tag attribute. So if you go to the XML data, what is the main parent attribute? Customer tag, right? Now you see here customer tag, and you see, and under customer tag there are so many other tags. So for each and every tag I want to give a column, separate column name. So cust underscore id int path cust id. So what this XML table will do, it will logically converting all the attributes and assigning the some column names to these properties: cust id, name, age, city, state, country, account number, balance, status, branch. Okay, this way we are getting it, right? So you see, there are so much information and documentation available regarding the xquery. What is xquery? What is XML data XML data handling using xquery concept? There are XML table, XMLType. Okay, there's so much information about Db2, Db2 related XML data manipulation and all. You can actually Google that, or you can see some videos on it. Okay, so this is how we are going to get it. Okay, we have all those options. Flower options also there. I don't want to go deeper into this, but you see, I just want to focus on the cursor part. cursors. There are two ways you can create a cursor. You can use existing cursor, sys_reference cursor, or you can declare your own cursor and you can pre-compile that cursor. You can use that cursor in any other stored procedure. Okay, I hope you understand what are the cursors and how do we use it. And so how do you get a simple XML, how do you process XML document? You can see it here. Okay, you can, I think you understand. I hope. Thank you for listening to this video.